Hi, hello everybody. So we are now sitting at concept number 10. Concept number 10 talks about basic successive percentage change and it's working on two values. So what's really happening here is this, that if you have something for 100 rupees and you bring a change of 10% in it, okay, something is there for 10 rupees and you bring a change of 10% in it. So what's the new value? The new value would be 10% of 100, which is 10, and add it back to 100 and it becomes 110. So this is the first change. This kind of change, you cannot call this kind of change a successive change. Okay. So this kind of change would be called just an initial change. Now there is supposed to be a second change that is supposed to happen. Okay. There's a second change that is supposed to happen. And for that, I'm going to write plus 10 more percent. Okay. This is an example. So these are hypothetical values. Another 10% of 110 would be 11. Okay, and I'll be adding 11 to this to the first value, which would get my final number to be 121. Okay, there must be a few students who might get a little confused because I've talked about successive percentages and I have done a change of 10% two times. So the final output should be 20%. But if I go back in the question, but if I go back in the question, I see that there is a change of 21%. And you'll be asking, you'll be like thinking, how could I reach 21% so quickly? The answer is 121 minus 100 is 21. And the base percentage is the old money which I had, which is 100 rupees, and again multiplied by 100. 100 gets cancelled by 100, so it clearly says 21%. So there's a gap of 1%. How did this gap occur? My question to you is, how did this gap occur? If we were doing just two percentages, we were incrementing the base value twice, then how could there be an extra 1%? So my answer to you is, and my explanation to you is, that once the base is being incremented, then that base now has the incremented value attached to it. Okay, here 100, I'll just change the pen color, the pen's color. 100 is the base. This is the plus or the increment. So 110 becomes our new base. 110 becomes our new base. Okay. Now at 11, now at after another 10% which came into the picture, the base had already changed to 110. That percentage came along with 11. That percentage got multiplied by 10%. 10 multiplied by 110 would give me 11. So this is the final answer. So the base is changing. Okay. The base is changing. That is why this 1% comes out to be extra. Or in another words, I can say that I have to add 10% once, then I have to add the second 10%, then I need to get the answer of 10% on 10% divided by 100. Okay, 10 into 10 upon 100. Why is only 110 being used over here? Why is only 110 being used over here? And why not two percentages sign are used over here? This might be your question. So I'll tell you what. First 10 is a percentage. The second 10 is also a percentage. Here, there cannot be there cannot be two percentages signs, because when we are doing 10% of 10%, in this way we are considering the second 10 to be a number. and not a percentage. Okay, we are considering 10% to be a number and not a percentage. That is why two percentage signs won't come. Only a single percentage sign would come. And this would give me a final answer of 1. Okay, 10 plus 10 plus 1. And the answer is 21. 21%. Okay, I hope this is clear. I hope this way is clear. This way of solving questions is clear. Also, if the value first increases and then decreases, if the value first increases and then decreases, then what happens is the first symbol over here is by default plus. If there is a decrement, then by default this symbol becomes minus. And when plus and minus are multiplied together, the default answer is minus. Okay, so if you remember just one formula, this first formula, you don't have to remember any other formula because you can easily play with the signs, with the positive or the negative sign, and then still achieve your goal. Okay, I hope I'm making myself very clear. This is a very basic successive percentage change question where two percentages cannot be simply added. Two percentages cannot be simply added to achieve a successive percentage ratio. They need to be added successively, one after the other. The impact of the first percentage would go to the second percentage. The impact of the first percentage would create a new base. The impact of the first percentage would create a new base which would be acted upon by the second percentage. Okay, I hope I'm making myself very clear over here. Moving to the questions of concept 10. The cost of apples increased by 20% and then decreased by 20%. What is the net percentage decrease? I'll simply be using the formula. I'll simply be using the formula and then I'll help you use it by assuming values. By assuming values. Okay. Now here I'm using the formula because there might be a day when you don't remember the formula, but there would definitely never be a day when you don't know how to assume values and still get to the right answer. Okay, now we're going to talk about the formula. The formula here is x plus y plus x multiplied by y upon 100. I'll be focusing on the increased portion first and then on the decreased portion. Okay, it's x percentage minus y percentage minus xy upon 100. The minus sign is here because there is a decrement, and the minus xy sign is there because the first increment multiplied by, okay, this is the first increment multiplied by the second decrement gives the final answer. I'm writing f over here, gives the final answer to be a negative. Okay, okay, so 20% plus 20% here plus, no, the plus would turn into minus. Okay, 20 minus 20% minus 20 into 20 upon 100. 0 with 0, 0 with 0. So this comes out to be, and this plus 20 and minus 20 get cancelled completely because no matter how much is positive, but if you get another negative which is of equal magnitude, they will cancel each other out. Okay, so minus 4, minus 4, or the net percentage decrease is 4%. Net percentage decrease. Got it? Got me? Now assuming values. Okay, I will assume the value in this manner, that the apples cost me rupees 100. Be it one single apple, be it 1 kg of apple, be it 100 kgs of apple. I'm assuming that apples cost me 100. Okay. There is an increase of 20%. This would give me the value as 120 rupees. This would give me the value as 120 rupees. Now, considering 120 as the base, there is a decrease of 20%. Okay. This is 20% plus. There is a decrease of base 20% minus. Okay. There's a decrease of base 20%. Decrease of base 20%. And the base value here is 120. Now applying the 20% minus on 120, I'm going to do it somewhere in the corner. Okay. Somewhere here in the corner. 120 multiplied by 20% minus. Or I can also write 100 minus 20, which is equal to 80%. Okay. 100 minus 20, 80%. The two zeros get cancelled in the numerator and the denominator. 8 twos are 16. 8 ones are 8, 96. Okay. Whatever we get here is 96 rupees. We started off with 100 rupees and now we are sitting at 96 rupees. So the base, the initial base, this is the first base, this is the second base, and this is the final point. We have to compare the two values between the first base and the final point. The first base value is 100 and the final base value is 96. So 100 minus 96 is equal to 4. Keeping the base same as 100, the question is asked, what is the percentage decrease, the net percentage decrease? Okay. So I've done a very, very small blunder here. Okay. The blunder is 100 minus 96 is definitely equal to 4. That will land me up in the right position. But the reality is that it should be final minus initial. Initial here being the first value. Okay. So it is 96 minus 100, which is equal to minus 4. The minus here denotes that there is a net percentage decrease or there is a loss. Okay. So it's minus 4 divided by 100 multiplied by 100, which would convert it into percentages. 100 is, this is the initial value. This is the initial. Okay, initial. I've written it in a very, very bad handwriting. I'll just give me a moment. I'm gonna change that. 100 is the initial, and this 100 is the the percentage one. Okay, so initial and percentage one gets cancelled. So minus 4% is the final answer. I could have very easily let you go. I would have very easily told you that, okay, we are done. We are done with the formula. So let it be. But it's very important for you to learn the value of assuming values, unintended. Okay. The value of assuming values and the importance of assuming values. It can land you up in a better space where you are more confident. Where you are more confident because assuming values is the most practical way to deal with things. Okay, it is the most practical way to deal with things. Coming down to question 2 of concept number 10. Each side of a cube is decreased by 12%. Then what is the percentage decrease in the surface area? Okay, what is the percentage decrease in the surface area? Okay, now using my beautiful hands, I would try to draw a very beautiful 3D cube, which most of you would ask me, how come a cube, which is a 3-dimension figure, can be drawn on a 2-dimension plot? The thing that you're seeing on the screen is a 3-dimension figure being drawn on a 2-dimension plot. Okay, this is going back and this is going back. Okay, so I'll tell you, this is nothing but an illusion. There is a face in the front, there's a face in the back, on the left, on the right. The properties of cube, the main properties of cube are, the first one being that all sides are equal. Okay, if this room's length, I can interchange length and breadth. Okay, this is the length, this is the breadth, and this is the height. If all the sides are equal, if all the sides are equal, then this can be called a cube. So it's talking about the surface area. Okay, it is talking about the surface area here. I'll tell you the formula of having the surface area of four walls, then also having the surface area, which is the total surface area, including the floor and the roof, the floor and the ceiling. Okay, the surface area. If it talks about surface area, then you have to remember it's only talking about the four walls. Okay, it's only talking about the four walls. If it is talking about total surface area, total surface area, it is talking about four walls plus ceiling plus flooring. Okay. When I talk about the surface area, the entire surface area, I need to basically paint on each of the walls of the room. Okay. So if I paint, let's assume if I paint on one wall, I'm assuming that this to be this particular thing to be a square. So if I have to paint on one wall, I would start painting from here and then I would move up whatever professional strokes it takes to paint a wall. I don't know that. But when I'm drawing it through my digital board, I know I just have to draw it this way. And I'm only applying one coat. Okay. I'm a very big miser. I'm only applying one coat. So this kind of question would not come in your examination of how many coats would you apply to 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 make the house feel really good or to make the wall look really good. Okay, so it's not about the coating. So I'm just like trying to put it in a better perspective, because as soon as I say the number of coats and everything, you people really get interested. Okay, he's talking about the number of coats as well. How good a maths teacher. Okay, after a very long day, this is what happens. You tend to go deeper and deeper and deeper into the question. Okay, so I'm applying basically one coat on one wall. So the amount of area that I'm covering in one wall is equal to a square, which is also equal to the area of the square or area of one square wall. Okay, one square wall. So when I'm doing it with four walls, the surface area would be 4a square. Okay, when I'm doing it with four walls, the surface area would be a square. Now there is somebody, some person is very finicky, somebody is very particular, and somebody is extremely meticulous about having a really good house. So what they'll do is they will also make the roof of the same color as the walls are, and they would also want to paint the floor. Just imagine people. There are people in the world who also want their floor to be painted when the four walls and the roof is getting painted. How weird is that? So when we're talking about the total surface area, the number of surfaces I have to paint are now four. You got me? The number of surface areas I have to, no, 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 no. The number of surface areas when I have to paint in a total surface area are now six. The four walls, including the roof and the floor. Okay. Total surface area is 6a square. Are we good? Are we doing fine? So it says the percentage decrease in surface area is, I've given you the entire theory of a cube. Okay. This is a cube that we are talking about over here. This is an entire cube, and this is a square wall. This is a cube. Surface area, total surface area. I will also try to teach you and try to tell you of the importance of knowing all these formulas, and the trivial thing about this thing being the trivial thing about the question being that we need not learn any formula. We need not know any formula to solve this particular question. Okay, I'll tell you why. I'll first solve the question and then I'll tell you why do we not need a formula in solving this type of question. The percentage decrease in surface area is asked. So if the side of a cube is decreasing and there is a multiplication of it two times, then the side would decrease once and successively the side would decrease one more time. Okay, so what happens is, see this, minus 12, minus 12, plus 12 into 12 divided by 100. Minus 12 make minus 24. Minus 12 make minus 24. No, there's a small thing. There's a decrease in the area. Okay, there is a decrease. Minus 12, or what can we actually do here is there is a decrease twice. So I can keep a minus outside and I can pretend that everything on the inside is getting added. Okay, everything on the inside is getting added. I'll show you how. Had this been the case, where it would have been minus minus and this would have been plus, it would not have landed us in the right space. That is why we every time there is a case of decrease, you keep the minus sign. You keep the minus sign outside the bracket and apply the standard formula which we were using. 12 plus 12 into 12 upon 100. Okay, so this goes like this. Plus 12, I'll just have this thing 24. 24 plus 1.44, because 12 square, the square of 12 is 144, and this is also going to add, so it's going to be 25.66. Just wait a second. Just wait a second. I'll be back in a moment. Particularly here, the side of a cube is decreased twice. So there would be an impact of minus x% decrease, minus x% decrease, and then a minus minus would get cancelled. The minus minus would get cancelled and create a plus, and that would have an x square decrease upon 100. X square would be a factor in it. Okay, so I'll be plugging in the value immediately. Minus 12 plus 1.44. The point is coming here because of the 100, and 144 comes when 12 is multiplied with itself. This makes it 24. Minus 24 plus 1.44. Minus 24 being a negative and a bigger number, it's gonna change. It's gonna change to minus 22, and the 0.44, when it is decreased by 100, it would come down to 56. Okay, so it means 22.56 is the net decrease in area. Okay, 22.56 is the net decrease in area. Now, about me solving this question. Now, about me solving this question using assumed values. I'll just help you with it. There is a 12% decrease. Okay, if the value was 25, then 3 decreased because of 20, because of 12%, and it came down to 22. Then again, the other side was also decreased from 25 and it became 22. To make it a component of surface area, the values need to be multiplied twice. Okay, the values need to be multiplied twice. So 25 multiplied by 25 becomes 625, and 22 multiplied by 22 makes it 484. Got it? Now 484 when reduced from 625 gives a result of 1, then another 4, and then 1. This 141 would be divided by 625 and multiplied by 100. Okay, 25 are 25, 25 is a 625, and 25 fours are 100. I need to give the answer in percentages, so I would multiply another 4 here and another 4 here, because I need 100 in the denominator. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 ones are 16. 16 fours are 64. Yes, yes, 64. 16 ones are 16. 64, 65. 6 in the carry. 16 ones are 16. 22.56 percentage. 22.56 percentage is the final answer. Okay. This is assumption based. This is assumption based. And the reason um, I used 25 over here and did not go with 100 because this is what helps me get the answer in a limited calculated calculation frame. Okay, it limits down my calculations a lot. That is why these are the assumptions which you also need to make, that instead of using 100 you can directly go for 25. Also, when I asked you, when I told you that you need not remember the formula, even if you forget the formula, you can still solve the question. In questions where area is asked, there is the best possibility, or maybe the reality as well. No, it is definitely the reality. In area questions, there are two successive increments or decrements. Okay, two successive increments or decrements. In volumes, there are three successive increments or decrements. Okay, the variables involved would be three in volumes, and the variables involved in area would be two only. So when you know that the variables involved are two only, so you can quickly assume x to be 12% and the other y also to be 12% and plug in the values. In the upcoming concept, we would be using three variables as well. And that is where you might feel it is difficult, but trust me, it is still easy. Okay. Thank you.